before I begin another segment, I would like to say a few words about the direct market. You idiots! You had the perfect system set up and you ruined it. Oh my God, what the heck were you thinking? You killed each other. You cannibalized everything. Like, you guys stabbed the knife in it and twisted it, and it's taking this long to, like, pull it out. Like, it's gonna need repairs like you wouldn't believe now. Okay, now on to the cider note. The actual direct market was founded when Phil Seuling went to comics companies and said that instead of selling directly to newspapers, and only selling to newspapers, sell it to specialty stores. Now, specialty stores were a rare thing in America before the 70s because you would have to get back issues of comics through mail order, or you'd have to actually find a store that actually kept all of theirs, which was rare. There was maybe 30 or 300 in the entire country before the direct market. Phil Seuling was a teacher, and when he noticed that there was a large community of fans out there for comic books, and there was a niche market, and this niche market had actual stores, he had the idea of going to the publishers, and instead of distributing through newsstands, they would sell to the direct market, who were these niche stores and retailers and mail orders and people who just kept stuff there for people to sell that were actually fans of the stuff. And when he did this, he ran into several problems later. One such problem was he had the retailers pay in advance, and the publishers would bill him after the sale. So he would have this large amount of time to use this money that he had acquired, and if there was a late book or a solicited book that never showed up, these guys over here, the retailers, could not get their money back. So when he got that money, he would buy his own stuff for himself. And when he bought this, he didn't even realize how much he had. Like, he didn't keep track of most of it. That particular practice led to one such retailer, Chuck Rosansky, to make a call to open up the direct market more. And he did. With Marvel, he managed to get anyone with a $3,000 check that won't bounce to sell books to them. And this splinters up things a bit. And another problem Phil Seuling had was that there was this question over whether he had a monopoly or not. Because comics distribution has been investigated by the Department of Justice or Fair Trade or whatnot, whoever investigates comic books, for monopolies. And while in recent years it's been ruled that there is no monopoly currently, even though there is one publisher, Diamond Distribution, the monopoly would only occur when actual books are monopolized along with the comic books, because comic books is a distribution system that's very wide. However, many companies use book houses to send out trade paperbacks and original graphic novels. The main problem with the direct market, though, is its decline. As fast as it rose, it was also faster to tear itself apart. smaller distributors and retailers were eaten up by larger retailers and larger distributors in any way, shape, or form. In any arena, that's basically what happened. It was a totally laissez-faire situation. There was no regulation. There was no guy with a big stick hanging around saying, don't do that. And eventually you have one distributor. And the publishers also had a hand in this as well, because DC Comics in 1981 posted how it was going to work with the direct market in a way that people who were not on their list of people that they will give business to would be dead. Like their businesses, without the help of DC Comics, without the particular discounts that they were offering, would be buying from somebody else and at a higher price, and it would just be such a cut to profits that it was a death sentence, basically. When DC Comics further made it so that anyone who had a clean account, basically, like paid their bills on time, like had no stragglers left or whatever, it further encouraged smaller distributors to stop taking orders from the people that were having a hard time or that their checks would bounce, and then these guys would benefit from that. So DC Comics really put a crimp on the direct market. However, Marvel is not without blame, because they had this discount for, or reward, basically, for the ones that could ship the most. So they rewarded the ones that could ship the most. Therefore, that really messed with like the smaller distributors. And even still, the people that were small, like just to give you an example of what we're talking about, small versus big. Small people use trucks. Big people use air freight. Air freight is faster, costs a little bit more, but tons more efficient. Trucks are not so much efficient. So people who use trucks went out of business. People who used air freight stayed in business. So it's just, the direct market was this brilliant idea that if they had regulated it a little bit more, paid attention to what they were doing just a little bit more, we wouldn't be in a declining market for comic books. I was talking to a very notable professional at a convention this past summer, or this past October. What do you call it about summer? This October, I was talking to a very notable comics professional, and he talked to me about working on Superman in the 60s, and it's selling 1 million copies. And Superman today is selling 30,000. He asked, what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Newsstands went went the way of the dodo, because how many people find newsstand comics anymore that aren't Archie or like the tamest examples of DC Comics or Marvel Comics or whatever, or Sonic the Hedgehog? Like that's what's on the newsstands now. Like none of the really great stuff is on newsstands anymore. Then the direct market, you stabbed it. You all stabbed it. You shot yourselves in the foot. You got rid of the competition, and the competition got rid of you. So all you're left with is like a singular company. Then I'll tell you even further what happened. When both of you did that, with rising cost increases, guess what? You eliminated your, you want to plant the seeds early, and now you're just aiming for teens and adults. Like, you ghettoized yourself. You put yourself in a ghetto. Jesus. the comics industry secluded itself over 30 years of the direct market and failing newsstands. However, those smart enough to realize that to make things work in their advantage, things like they're competing with video games now, they're competing with TV, they're competing with stuff in movies. Like, they realized, like, they're smart ones, they're competing with the internet. Like, digital piracy, like, a issue of Superman can get 1,000 downloads, but you're afraid to put it online because people are afraid that it's going to pirate it more. However, what you don't realize is there's probably going to be more people about to, like, buy it just as well because they downloaded it. I mean, people talk about piracy like it's only digital. Like, how many people actually used their friends' issues, like they read their friends' issues or borrowed a book from somebody, and then they went out and got their own copy. I mean, like, sharing is the first form of piracy, folks. This rant was brought to you by this fun stuff.